Hello YouTube, Komodo Gaming here, bringing you another episode of Scrap Mechanic. Now, I'm really surprised this build hasn't been done yet. At least I haven't seen it. I searched all over YouTube to see if certainly somebody had built this, and it's the Halo Warthog. I'm really surprised for an iconic video game vehicle that I haven't actually spotted one on YouTube. So we're going to give it a try here. I'm going to start out and build the just kind of a little bit of a base here. I'm gonna build everything, of course, like most vehicles. I build right around the driver. So we're gonna put the driver's seat and the passenger seat here. I've got some questions about how I'm gonna do several things, mainly the turret in the back. I've got some ideals floating around. I'm not 100% sure. We'll just kind of play it by ear here and see how it turns out. There's probably going to be quite a few cuts in this video. There's going to be a lot of trial and error. I can already tell you, like most of my videos. So I'll try to definitely stick in the most important parts, or at least the parts that I want you to see. I'm not going to put in some of the slower parts. I mean, I'll explain some basic things. Suspension-wise, I'm probably going to do fairly similar to how I normally do my suspensions. I have like a pipe layout I use. It works really good. It works really good and actually looks good. I don't like to use the wood blocks anymore in my suspension. It just makes it look plain, so it gives it a little bit more of a unique look. I don't even know if it's going to matter. You're probably not going to be able to see most of it because from the pictures I'm looking at here, it's going to be covered up. But another challenge I'm going to face here is actually this vehicle has a lot of angles on it. It's got a lot of, it's not blocky, and unfortunately in Scrap Mechanic you're working mostly at blocks, so I've got a block here that I'm probably going to wind up using a lot. It's like a kind of a ramp block, and I'm sure I can make some angles and make it look a little bit more presentable and clean it up. Also, like all of my vehicles, if I'm planning on having like a hitch, or in this case a turret, and it's going to run off a bearing, I make the width is going to be uneven. I do that way I can have the bearing right in the center. This is something that's really important to me now because I've had many vehicle builds where I would build the vehicle, and then when I go to stick a trailer or something on it, it's an even number and the bearing runs off of one. It's just one block wide, so everything, it gets off centered, and it's just it'll tick you off. I've done it countless times, so now I've gotten to the point where all my vehicles are always uneven as far as the width. And let's see, I've got the suspension parts I believe that I'm going to use. Let's go ahead and show that here. Okay, suspension wise, if you watched any of my other videos, you kind of get an idea of how I do a lot of my suspension parts. This is going to be no different. This is kind of a placeholder here. I'm probably going to have to make this wider. I'm looking at pictures here of the vehicle itself, and the wheels, they look like they poke out a little bit. This probably isn't going to be wide enough. Let me just do a little test here and see how it's going to look, but I'm probably going to have to make this wider. And I'm going to go ahead and do the back suspension here in a second. I'll probably skip over that. That's going to be a tricky one also. The more I think about it, the back suspension, I'm going to have to deal with the turret. And the suspension I build, it pops up it's fairly tall, just to kind of make sure I can use the biggest spring possible on there. So there's going to be a couple challenges in this vehicle that are going to be interesting to see, once I figure it out, kind of how everything's going to work together here. So let's go ahead and place the bearings, and I do my thing where I go back and forth because there's no mirroring in the game, but it's my pet peeve. I'm going to make sure I get everything perfect because I don't like going back and deleting things and just because I screwed up. So that looks good. Let's do that. Let's put a wheel on it, and these wheels are fairly big. Let me look at the other wheel real quick and just see what it looks like. I don't know. Let's going to place the other one here. That's definitely too small. We'll have to go back and use the other one. I think the other one's actually fairly close in size to the wheel in the game. It's a pretty big wheel, so we'll go ahead and get the big one back and place it. Let's see. One there and one here. Alright, I'm going to skip forward. I'm going to go ahead and do the back suspension and maybe build a little bit more on the base here and not have to talk over it. So, let's see. Okay. As I was saying earlier, I've used some of these half blocks. I've made some lines on it. I've noticed, like I said, this vehicle's got some weird angles. Right now, I'm building a little bit of a... some of the vehicles, now it's not on every vehicle, but some of these have like this rail on the side of it. I mean, it could be a rail to hang stuff. It could just be a guardrail. I mean, when you run into stuff, I'm not really sure the exact purpose of it, but I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there because it looks cool. It adds a little bit to the vehicle. Also, let's see. As you can see, I made the lines. I'm probably going to have to go back and re-edit this. I think the front end looks a little too stubby. But the lines are... it's got some really odd lines. And one thing that's really bugging me is how I'm going to do the roll cage. My ideal, which I'm going to probably do first, I've got some of these blocks. I might be able to make that angle. Like, the vehicle doesn't have doors. And the vehicle doesn't have, like, say where the door should be. It's not perfectly squared off. It's got these angles. And I believe I can do these by block. I might also try it by pipe. I don't know. I probably can't get the angles I want with the pipe. But one of the bad things with the block is every time you add these big blocks, it makes everything look really clunky, really... I mean, it's kind of hard on the eyes, at least to me. That's kind of what I'm thinking there. I'm probably going to try the other thing first. I don't know. This is going to be... This is probably... I thought the turret was going to be tough to do, but to make this look right, I've got a couple things I'm going to have to go over here. Also, that back suspension, I'm going to go ahead and make it wider too, because I realized with that turret setting down in there, it's not going to, with the way I have it built right now, it's not going to set in there. It's not going to be able to turn. I'm not going to have enough room. So I'll go back and edit that and get that cleared up. Let's see. I'm not liking that, but I'm thinking about going ahead and see if I can get this angle a little bit closer and hopefully make a little more sense here. I don't know. I still think I'm going to try the pipe. The pipe's probably going to be what I'm going to do next, and that's definitely a little too tall. So, and that's one of the unfortunate things with working with some of these blocks is that they're just a little too big, hair too big here. So, I don't know. We're going to go ahead and redo this and put the pipe on and see what it looks like. Alright, I've gotten the pipe on. I've also deleting. I've got to make the front suspension a little bit wider. I've noticed that the vehicle, the tires weren't poking out at all. And on the vehicle, most of the pictures I'm seeing here, the tires poke out just a hair, and I wasn't getting that with the first suspension I built here. So I'm going to redo that. We're going to have to redo the backs. I don't know, there's quite a bit of stuff I've got to go back and go over again. As you can see, I put a little bit of a, let me do this real quick. I've put a kind of a placeholder roll cage in, just experimenting to see what it would look like, and I'm not really satisfied at all with how it looks. I don't know, I'm going to have to go back and redo it. There's a lot of things I'm going to have to redo. I'm going to have to do a lot of editing on this video because I've spent a lot of time just goofing off, attempting new things, and trying to make sense out of this whole thing. Yeah, that it just doesn't look right now. It doesn't look natural at all. So let's go ahead and widen this out. I'm gonna use the same design. I just figured I can move it over a couple blocks, give myself some space in the back. I also need to fill the floor out back here, and I'm not really sure where that suspension just went. It just disappeared in the ground. But I think one of my builds not too long ago, I deleted something. It went into the ground and then it fell from the sky, which was really interesting. But let's see. Also, excuse me if I sound a little funny today. I've had a kind of sinus issues all day, or actually the past week have been pretty bad. I've had some bad luck. I broke my mic for my last build, and then I've had some sinus issues all week. But I'm feeling pretty good today, so that's why I decided to go ahead and try to put another build together. Okay. Let's see, this front end, I'm going to have to widen out a little bit. You can kind of just see some of the angles that I've done. It didn't take much to figure these out. I was just trying to make it to where it looks good. Like I said, I like the angles. The only thing I'm not happy with is the roll cage. But that should be easily fixed, so I can take care of that. And let me go ahead and do the back suspension here. Like I said, it's just going to be same design, just without the bar in between to make it wider. It'll just drop straight down. It shouldn't be any issue with it though. But I'll have to definitely build around these. I'm going to try to hide these as much as possible. Just the reason I do this and the reason I make it go up so high, like I said, I like using the big spring because it makes the cars handle a lot better, makes them handle off-road really good, but it's just, you have to kind of build them really tall. If not, the vehicle sets really, really high off the ground. So let's go ahead and put those in. Okay. And put one of those. Let's go ahead and set it on the ground here, see what it looks like. It looks better. Still not 100% happy with it. Okay. I've done some editing here. I'm going to chop a little off the front. I've got some things I'm going to do. It's one of the vehicles I'm looking at. It has lights on the front. I kind of like the design, so I'm going to stick the lights in the front here. Another reason why I have to change the roll cage is that a lot of the vehicles I'm seeing also have a couple lights resting on the top of the cage, and I don't think I can do that with these pipes. And these pipes look awkward, so I mean, this would be fine if this was like any other like normal off-road buggy. This would be perfectly fine, but this is I'm trying to replicate something here, and I don't know. Also, I'm going to change this here. As you can see, these angles I'm deleting here, I need to make it one longer. The angle that comes off the bottom of this vehicle, it doesn't have like a normal looking wheel well. It just has a straight angle that goes all the way up into the hood, and then it just comes around to the front. The angle, I just want to make it one block longer here, and that should make it look a little more natural, or at least a little closer to what the vehicle is showing. So add a third one here, so that's a longer line. I'm thinking that's going to look a little better. Yeah, that looks better. Still not 100% happy with the front. Of course, I'm going to put some extra things in the front. There's I don't know what I'm going to use for it, but most of these vehicles have like a winch on the front. So I also need to add that. I'm going to fill in some of this engine compartment, try to block out. And another thing I might need to use it for, because I have a feeling when I put the turn in the back, it's going to be really heavy, and it's going to weigh that back down. So I'm probably going to have to throw some blocks right around the engine. So maybe some metal blocks in there, some real heavy blocks. And I'll probably use some of those wiring. Look, these things that make it look like there's actual exhaust pipes. I'll probably throw some of those in there. Just try to make it look, good cosmetically, and also it's going to benefit in the whole fact that the weight's going to be the weight distribution is going to be a little bit better. I'm going to have some in the front, because that's one of my main worries, is that the back end is just going to be digging into the ground. I'm going to be popping a wheelie the whole time. So let's see. That looks pretty good. Fill in this hood a little bit more. Try not to screw it up. The front end, like I said, it just needs a little something. I'm not 100% sure. Probably might be some cosmetics. Like I said, once I fill in some more, it should look okay. What else do I want to add here? I guess we're going to go ahead and probably do the top next. Probably try to figure out the roll cage situation. Okay, this is kind of what I'm settling on here. I'm not 100% happy with this, but this is probably about the closest I can get it to look to the pictures I'm seeing here. Like I said, this thing doesn't have doors. It doesn't have normal like door openings. It's got these weird looking angles on them, and also the front, where the windshield should be, comes out quite a bit into the hood. And of course, I don't have any glass blocks. I don't have anything I can make with glass, so it's just going to be open. But I think I can make it come out far enough that it looks fairly natural. Also, there's the bar that covers up the back, and there's one bar that comes down the middle. I'm going to go ahead and use pipe on that. I think it'll make it look fairly unique. And also, I don't want to put pipe. I don't want to put a whole nother set of these blocks down for the middle part of the roll cage. It's just going to be a lot of blocks in there. It's going to look really kind of awkward. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get up here. Trying to think. I'm going to use these pieces here. And I'm going to make these go all the way across. Over in the middle, I'm going to have the one pipe piece that I can send one of these roll bars right down the middle here. So, like that. And I guess we can make it go down here. And, oh, that hangs. That's way too far. Let's chop one off here. Okay, we're going to make it go down. Looks like I might have to go down to the console. I haven't done the console yet, so let's do that. And I'll put a block here, and then I'll build up around it. So that should look pretty good, especially once I start adding some of the controls in the console. Okay, off to the turret. Now, this is taking me a little bit. My first idea was to set a seat back there and make it control the turret somehow. And every way I looked at it, the seat just didn't work. It doesn't look like it at all. Like, the seat was terrible. First, getting it to rotate and getting it to clear everything in the back, it was hard to do. Every video or every picture that I've seen where somebody's using the turret, and from what I remember in the game, the person's standing up. And I don't have anything that I can make. They need to have some sort of control that you can have. I'm not sure, maybe that's in the works, that way you can actually stand up and control things, because the whole sitting back there just didn't work. So I kind of created these two little bars that you can stand on, and then I'm creating the shield right now. And then in theory, I don't have a way to control it. I'm gonna actually hook it up, since I don't have anybody that I'm playing with. I'm gonna just hook a control up into the front, and I'm gonna make it spin from the front while I'm driving. I would like to test this with somebody standing on this and seeing if whatever happens when this thing starts to spin, see if the person actually balances on it. I'm not 100% sure, but realistically, it's here for cosmetic reasons. I don't have a functioning gun or anything. And that would be kind of cool for Scrap Mechanic to add. I don't know really if there's gonna be a purpose for it, but if they would add some sort of weapons in the game, that would be kind of awesome. There's a lot of possibilities with this game of what they can add. It's just a question if they're going to add some of these things. And there's, like I said, we're still on the first real big build, so there's only going to be more blocks added and more exciting features and everything else. So, looking at the picture again, some of these shields they vary from design. I've seen some of these Warthogs that have different features in the back. Like, I've seen some that actually just carry troops in the back. They have this weird square cage, or square looking cage, and it looks like you can set like 4 troops back there. I'm going for a little bit more of the traditional, the older Halos. The only thing I really remember in them were the miniguns. To be honest with you, I haven't really played the latest Halo. I got into 4 a little bit, and I kind of stopped there. I had bought the Master Chief Collection, and it didn't run really, like, it was broken. So that was really disappointing. But I remember this was one of the first games where, co-op-wise, this was awesome. Playing this with friends, everybody and this vehicle, especially, was just awesome. Everybody jumping in there. Somebody riding in the passenger seat shooting. You get the driver, somebody sitting on the turret. It was awesome. That was like one of the first real good co-op experiences I had with playing with friends, and that was way ahead of its time. And I think it was 2001 when the first Halo came out. It was 2001 or 2002, but it was awesome. So this vehicle is kind of bringing back some memories. I might have to fire some Halo up. Let's see. Let's add another piece up here, make this look a little bit bigger of a shield. You need all the protection you can get here. But this, I'm getting close to everything being built. Of course, I'm going to skip over. I'm going to do some minor cosmetic things. I'll just skip that out of the video. I'm just kind of showing the major parts and kind of how I did them. I don't want to show me like decorating it because it's just really pointless. I'll do that and then we'll give it a test here in a minute. Let's go ahead and place a controller. I'm gonna do the console inside a little bit and add I'm gonna add a controller. Like I said, I'm just gonna map the button to the front. And I just want to prove that it works, prove that it spins around, it clears the body, it doesn't get hung up anywhere. So I'm going to just make it rotate maybe a couple times. So let's go ahead and, if I don't get stuck here, let's go ahead and place the center in here. We'll just stick the controller here in the front. And I need a button. I need to get that too. Let's get the button. We'll probably stick this down in the middle here. I don't want to use... I need a radio too. I'm going to put radio and everything. And I need the duck. I need to throw the duck in there. So let's throw the button down here. And let's go ahead and put our duck in. Gonna have company here. And let's go ahead and let's map this all together. So I need to map the turrets bearing to the controller, and I need to map the the controller to the button, and the button to the driver's seat. Okay, let's go ahead and use the controller here. Like I said, I'm just gonna make it spin around a couple times, just prove it works. So I think a couple 360s will be fine. Slow it down a little bit here. And we should be ready to test here. I believe we're ready to go, so let's test it out. Alright, as you can see, everything's working here. Let's go ahead and activate the turret. Turret spins around, it's clear, it doesn't hang up anywhere, so that works. I'm not sure anybody would be able to hold on to it. Another thing that I've noticed, my vehicle has the same characteristics as the car in the game. The car in the game tips over really easy. And I remember that, and my car does the same thing. Of course, that was just me flying off a cliff. Unfortunately, I don't have the button like they do in Halo, where I can just click a button and it flips the Warthog over. So let's just place it back down. Let's give it a go again. It handles really well. I mean, it drives. It's fun to drive. It's fast. It takes hills really well. I mean, it tips over a lot, but it's a kind of a blast to drive. I would have liked to have made the turret where you can actually lock somebody into it and make them ride around, but I'm not sure anybody would be able to actually set into it. Let's see. Oh, yep. And I almost tipped it back over. Yeah, oh, there we go. Flipped it right back over. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this build. I'm happy with the way this one came out. This, like I said, it's not perfect. It's not a one-to-one, but I feel that it's a fairly close representation of the vehicle. So, hey, if you like to subscribe, like the videos, we'll be doing some more games, and I'm sure we'll be doing some more scrap mechanic. So we'll see you guys next time.